no one made bad wine in '02. It was hard to make bad wine in '02 because the numbers just naturally went to where they were supposed to be. It was long, no rain, you had unbelievable balance, but wines that are a little bit more elegant and European in style. So if you have friends coming over for dinner and you want to impress them with European-style Australian wine, go to '02 as a vintage. Syrah and Shiraz are exactly the same grape. Exactly the same grape. Is it Shiraz or Shiraz? I asked that on my very first trip there. There's no kind of dialect or regional dialect that defines how it's said. You hear it every possible way in Australia. You would suspect that because there's a city called Shiraz, that there might be some connection, but there's no historic proof of that. There's also some suggestion that as Syrah migrated across Europe, dialects changed and Syrah became Shiraz. There's no historic evidence that it is Persian by origin. And why it's called Shiraz in Australia and nowhere else in the world, can't seem to get clear evidence about that either. Are there any unusual dishes that Shiraz will go with? I'm a very promiscuous eater and drinker, so I eat a ton of spicy Chinese food and Chinese seafood, and as I said, one of my favorite Chinese restaurants is in Australia, Jade View Inn in Adelaide, and we always bring piles of Barossa wines, and we'll have it with, spicy, deep-fried mud crab. Mud crab's, in my view, the greatest crab on the planet. And spice and Barossa, big Barossa, juicy, fruity wines goes really well together. Traditionally, spice is paired with Gewürztraminer or Riesling. That's like now historic, back 40 or 50 years. The key for me with spice is big flavor. Those wines had big flavor. People don't realize, because you think of Riesling and Gewürztraminer as being light wines, but Alsatian Gewürztraminer is not a light wine, it's a big rich wine. You need tons of fruit to balance the spice, and that can be with a red wine as well. For me, there are no rules in eating and drinking. I don't typically pair food and wine. I just open up whatever I feel like opening up and see what happens.